Hi, I'm Brianna Mangione, and I'm going to be talking about the murder of the Black Dahlia and the whole case surrounding it. So, on January 15th, in 1947, in Los Angeles, California, a 22-year-old named Elizabeth Short's body was found by a woman taking her child on a walk, and she was found on the ground in an empty lot around Leimert Park, which again is in Los Angeles, California. So, Elizabeth, who is also known as the Black Dahlia in her acting career, was brutally murdered by an unknown killer to this day. So, knowing how high of a person and known of a person that she was extremely famous and she was beautiful. So, it's very clear that whoever had done this had very much known who she was, and the unfound killer had cut her half at the waist, which is a very disturbing way of killing somebody. And it was very precise in the way that it was cut. She was cut, excuse me, and her body just being thrown in a way that it was just near an empty lot around Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, which is a very busy place to live and to be around. And there's so many people in the area that it was very disturbing for somebody to just throw her body near something like as public as a right near a park where people are bringing their children and walking their dogs and just trying to enjoy their life over there. So this photo right here on the right is a photo of her, and she's very done up because she was very famous. She was always spoken very highly and shown in the best way possible because of how famous she was and knowing how much of a popular person that she was. So some theories are listed over here. So despite the fact that Elizabeth Short's killer has yet to be found, there are some speculated theories that have been up in the air for many years. So one theory was that it was a man named Dr. George Hill Hodel. And according to an article from biography.com, it shared information with the public that in February of 2013, the investigative team had searched his house and detected signs of human decomposition. And on top of that, there was an old recording of George Hill Hodel saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's dead," which was on paragraph 7. And according to another article by FBI.gov, another theory was that there were multiple people involved, potentially the killers being a group of students from the University of Southern California Medical School. So, in both of these cases, it would make sense as to why Elizabeth's body was so precisely split down the center of her waist, because in both theories, they are potentially suspecting people who are educated in the medical field who would be able to perform such a horrific thing. And on this next slide, there on this left, this is the photo of her mugshot and the Santa Barbara police. And still then, it seems that she's very done up. And even on the top, you can see that it says the Black Dahlia because that was her stage name. That's what she was known as. And you can see she has these very nice earrings in. You can tell that probably has a very nice dress on, and her hair was always done. And even then, it looks a little messed up, probably out of distress or anything like that. Probably in her past, whether it was for a movie or a mugshot just in general. And so this slide is going to be about what my theory of what happened. And personally, I think that it was Dr. George, Hill Hodel. And this is because on top of the fact that there's so much leading evidence as to the fact that he was the killer, I believe that a doctor with as much experience as Hodel does have, he would be able to cut a body like that better than a group of students that are still practicing. And also, the recording of him slightly hinting at him being able to get away with the murder truly does convince me that he was a killer, only because that was such an insensitive thing for him to say. And if he just said it thinking, okay, he's not going to get caught, his secretary is dead, and nobody's able to catch him in that way. He made it very open that he was like, supposedly I did kill her. What if I did? Nobody would be able to catch him. he seems very stern in the way that he wouldn't be able to be caught. And he truly doesn't even seem like he cares. But making such a statement like that to a recorded tape, whether or not he knew, like he had no thought as to the families and everybody grieving over this poor woman who was just brutally murdered. And somebody who wouldn't be able to show that heart might give evidence as to somebody who would do such an act like this. So these are my references that I use. This top one over here is by FBI.gov, and the bottom one is the one from the biography.com. And on these two sides, I put the same photo, and it shows a wanted information on Elizabeth Short between the dates of January 9th and 15th, 1947. And it's that first photo that I used in the first slide or the second. And these posters were most likely hung up or posted everywhere, whether it was in newspapers, on streets, everything, just trying to gain information as to where she was, who could have possibly done this to her. And even to this day, nobody does know. Maybe it is Dr. George Hill Hodel, or maybe it was the students, or maybe it's somebody completely random who could have just wanted to horribly do that to somebody, especially somebody in such spotlight. But unfortunately, killer was not found or killers. And thank you for listening. That is my predictions as to what happens. Thank you.